Drivers Make podcast. Please like, subscribe and share if you can. It would help a lot with the algorithm, and not only that, you will be helping independent, unscripted voices not be suppressed and be chewed up by the scripted big mainstream algorithms at play. If you could do that, it would help a lot. And I'm not just saying that from a selfish point of view, it helps other content creators too that aren't basically going ahead with mainstream narratives. So also check me out on Instagram, Drivers Make Podcast, and TikTok, Drivers Make Podcast, and now Patreon, Drivers Make Podcast. You can get early access to videos. You can ask me to make specific content based on what you want to see. All kinds of goodies, okay? Brilliant, right? So today, I'm going to be giving my opinion on something that's been permeating Twitter to do with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion's issues, right? So the aftermath, so all of this is up in the air, yeah? Some of it's alleged, some of it's confirmed. I'm not fact checking it because I don't particularly care about either of the two individuals, but I'm interested in the outcomes and how it affects everybody else, okay? So basically, I'll just give you a quick rundown if you're not aware of the situation. It's alleged that this rapper called Tory Lanez shot another rapper, female rapper called Meg Thee Stallion in her foot at some event or some sort, right? That's what is being alleged. So they went through their process in court or what have you, and eventually they decided to arrest this guy, this rapper, and put him and sentence him. So recently he's been sentenced, and there's all kinds of other conspiracy theories of what's happening in that case and why it happened, right? Because a lot of people are saying a few strings have been pulled to make sure this guy goes to jail, right? Because it's all questionable activity, right? All of it is questionable. But besides that, recently, which has been unconfirmed to whether it's true or false, YouTube has decided to demonetize Tory Lanez's platform, right? So let's just forget about him as a person and what he done, right? The crime he allegedly committed, yeah? This thing has been said, or has actually been done to multiple people, right? A lot of different people have had their channels and their platforms demonetized and been deplatformed, okay? So it's not a new phenomenon, but it's new to the people that are interested in entertainment business, right? Because now it's reaching their plate. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've been doing this with gum in my mouth. I'm so typical. Like, real people, real things, okay? Drivers Make Podcast. Just geezers in a van. Anyway, so now this has reached the plate or the screens of the more entertainment-minded people. It's now become a problem to them, right? Because they see how this can affect their money, right? And not only their money, their record labels' money, their business partners' money, their future investments and the likes, right? So it's alleged that YouTube has demonetized Tory Lanez's channel, right? Not confirmed, not unconfirmed, all right? Either way, let's just talk about the connotations of this, okay? So, are we to believe that based on criminal accusations or criminal charges, a man's YouTube channel should be demonetized? Now, the criminal charges do not pertain to the type of entertainment or the content that his channel is producing, right? So let's put his content away from the person. Let's separate the two. I know for a lot of you out there, wokies, it's hard to separate content from content creator, right? Or music from music creator, right? And there's a few people we can mention, yeah? For good reason. But let's do that for the sake of the argument, right? Let's separate the man from the content. Now, when you talk about music moguls or music artists or entertainment people in general, right? You only ever think about the figurehead, which is the artist or the front person. But you never think about all the other hundreds of people behind that person that make them possible, make what they do possible, right? So just for a surface level thing, we'll say, just when he's recording his music, he needs an engineer, he needs someone that makes the beats, and he needs someone that mixes it, someone that packages it, puts it to the label, an A&R, producer. It goes up and up and up a chain, legality, accountants, publishers, all kinds of people are involved with just one person's piece of content, right, at that level in the big media world, okay? Many people, many wages, many families are affected by the actions of one person, right? Or the inactions. So when we separate the content just from that front-facing artist or person, the filmmaker, whoever, right? Recognize that that piece of content is delivered to you through means of other people's resources and times and effort, right? So you're not only taking food away from that person, you're taking food away from untold families, right? You don't know. Okay, so let's just think about it like that, right? So there's that aspect of demonetization based on real world scenarios, right, which has nothing to do with the platform itself. Okay, then there is the argument of suppression, right, which is what a lot of people like me and you are dealing with, right, on YouTube. And not just YouTube, like social media, even in the real world, right? There are certain agencies and groups that would like to suppress certain individuals because they are potentially a threat to what is already in play, right? Or they've assessed their potential to do something that's going to change things for the power players, right? And the power players don't want things to change unless they're the ones that change it, okay? So not just politicians, bankers, lawyers, police, all of those people have a stake in anything that can change the way society operates, right? Or what is put into society, right? So your governing bodies, your social, societal foundations have a stake in what happens, right? Even though they shouldn't be able to dictate what happens. That's the problem, where we're encroaching on people's rights, right? People's ability to be who they are and do what they want to do, as long as they're not harming anybody, right? So, yes, if that is the case, then we've got a bigger thing at play here. Why is an individual being demonetized, deplatformed based on something they did outside of the platform, outside of the content they produced on the platform, right? That is problematic because that comes down into silencing people, suppressing people, right? And that's very authoritarian, very dictatorship level stuff, right? It starts small, but then it gets big, right? We've seen it time after time in political instances with leaders and social groups and people that are both on the good side of history and the bad side of history, right? They get suppressed, they get shut down by the powers that be, okay? So we've taken away, we're forgetting about Tory Lanez as an individual, right? We could take any name out, swap him out for any name, right? We can swap in a name of someone that we allegedly has never done anything wrong in their life, right? We can just swap it for that person, right? So as we're seeing, which is an aside to this, right? We're seeing current kind of litigation or media back and forth with Elon Musk and the Jewish defamation group, right? I'm not sure what they call themselves, right? But it's their group is a social justice group which is put together to help stop anti-Semitism, right? Which is a good cause, right? Initially, the foundation of that is a good cause. It's a just cause, right? Because we don't want racism and we don't want anti-Semitism and we don't want xenophobia, right? We just don't, because it's not good for anybody, right? So the basis of that foundation is good, right? But now there's an argument that's happening is this thing that initially started out as a good cause, right? Nothing against Jewish Defamation League, right? I'm just using you as an example. Is this thing that started out as a good cause now turned into like a power-hungry, shot-calling, manipulating entity, right? And it's not just them. There are examples of this in the business world, in the corporate world, in the social justice world as well, right? Are these things and people individuals? Because remember, every company, every group, every social organization is comprised of individuals, and individuals have their own motives and own agendas, okay? Just like me and you, right? Even though we might be kind of bipartisan and not really partaking in anyone else's political agenda, or even pushing our own, we have our own opinions and views and indoctrination in life, right? That is formally understood, okay? So if this entity is now, as we've seen, come after quite a lot of big people and a lot of unknown people too, and shut them down by simply writing letters to platforms and people in positions of power that could help this person or have helped this person, saying, hey, this person is X, Y, and Z, and we're basically gonna shame and guilt you if you stand by this person, right, if you allow this person to stay on your platform, it's a bad light on you, right? And of course, companies and individuals don't want to feel that pressure, right? They feel like it's like somebody coming up to you and accusing you of a crime and saying you did this because you're a friend of this guy, right? And you're like, no, that has nothing to do with me. I've never participated in anything this guy's got going on, right? I just know him, okay? That's how that feels. So of course, as a corporation that wants to protect their brand and their money, they don't have to, but they engage and give in to these pressure groups, right? These social change kind of groups, right? And individuals with power. So they concede and start to create a dialogue with them. And sometimes they don't even create a dialogue with them. They just go straight off what they've been told and never even reply to the emails. They just act on it straight away and they're like, all right, just in case, let's shut this down, right? But what does that then entail for society? That then suppresses, and you get like in England, right, there's a film, well, it wasn't made in England, I don't think, anyway, it might have been, but there's an old film called V for Vendetta, which is basically about Guy Fawkes and a commentary on Guy Fawkes and social society and social manipulation and all kinds of things, right? It's a commentary, a political and a subversive commentary, anyway, okay, yeah? But if you get into that situation of shutting people down like that, you will create these Guy Fawkeses, right? You will create these V for Vendettas inadvertently. And not only that, the public will then start to turn against the governing bodies and the powers and the platforms, because they'll be like, whoa, wait a minute. If you can do that to that guy and that girl, right, then what can you do to me, right? And I'm nobody. And if they're speaking on something that I agree with or I've lived, and you can do that to them, we're against you now. We're going to cause problems, and it's going to go past the social justice lobbying into real world lobbying of individuals, right? People pulling their resources out of businesses, people pulling their attention away from media and platforms, right? Saying, okay, if you're going to, just like the Jewish Defamation League would do, they would say, okay, if you're going to put this person on your platform, all of our Jewish community is going to take our money away, and we're going to actively fight against you, right? And not slander, because they can't say they're going to slander you, but they will slander you, okay? In litigation, they can't just come out and say, all right, we're going to destroy your name, but that is going to be what they're going to do to you, okay? So you've got it from both sides. You've got the pressure of the people that can get shut down as individuals by these kinds of pressure groups, and then you've got the companies that can get shut down by individuals, right, and the pressure group. So I know it's kind of a lot to take in, okay? But bringing it back down to base, if a platform which is supposed to be an accessible platform to all, right? So platforms cannot really be a public platform if it's based on any kind of discrimination, right? It would then be a private platform. Even though that has different legal connotations, it would be a private platform. If it's mitigating or excluding groups and individuals, right, then it's no longer public for everyone. It's no longer inclusive, right? So it's only for private, right? So if Twitter would decide to go private, then yes, it can do that, right? If YouTube would decide to go private, yes, it could do that, right? And any platform you name where individuals can log on and agree to the terms and services of that platform and use it, then yes, it would be understandable for them to dismiss anyone for breaking their guidelines, which they still can do, right? But the problem is this: are they dismissing people and suppressing people's voices based off the pressure they've been given by another group of people, right? And not by the actual actions of the individual that is being requested to shut, that they are being requested to shut them down, right? Are they actually investigating and taking into account? And like I've discussed before, as a big corporation, there's not really the manpower all the time to look into individual cases, right? So of course it makes sense to have a FAQ, a troubleshooting mandate that lets you look at the case in a broad state, like, okay, he's been accused of this and this and this, right? So let's just mark this as a potential spam or potential threat. Excuse me. And now the algorithm no longer pushes this out, right? that's kind of how it works. One second. But the implications of it are heavily political and heavily let's say dictatorship. They're really fascist, and not like fascism in the racial sense, just like the total there's a word for it that I can't really think about at the moment, right? But just think about it like that, as a dictatorship. So you're saying that there's no democracy once you engage in one case, you've really undermined the rights of everybody, and you've undermined democracy as a societal operating system. Okay, you've now said that once we decide to penalize an individual based on this group of things, nobody is safe now, right? And this individual represents every user on the platform, even though we are not shutting down every user, because we would shut our business down. But you've potentially opened yourself up to all kinds of discrimination and lawsuits and pressure groups and lobbying against you because you've attacked or shut down one individual, right? Now, this happens to loads of small people that goes under the radar. They don't have no voice, they don't have no big channel, they don't have any media success, they don't even have any financial success, so they can't speak up. But the reason it's brought to your attention now, like some of you that are interested in the entertainment world, is because of the Andrew Tates and because of the Tory Lanez's. And there's other people that I won't mention, right? Because, do you know what I mean? But anyway, what do you think? Is it becoming a concerted effort to suppress people? Let's say it like that. Is it really becoming Orwellian, right? And we're being told what we can and can't do, what we should and shouldn't say, right? Where we can and can't go, right? Should platforms be demonetized based on something that's not done on the platform, right? Because it's essentially like saying, like, remember the film Friday? If you've ever seen the film Friday, right? Craig gets fired on his day off, right? You're firing this guy on a Saturday when he's not even at work, and whatever he did has nothing to do with work, right? Essentially, that is what they're saying, okay? Because that platform that pays the bills, right, feeds the big media companies, is saying, hey, you're fired, right? We're no longer serving ads to you, right? Understandable from the advertisers' perspectives, but should they really be looking at individuals rather than their actual demographic reach of the individuals, right? Because they're doing that because of woke politics. If I can say woke, because woke's been incorporated into alt-right and far-right ideologies, right? It's not what it meant in the initial stages, right? But anyway, they are being pressured by these wokies, right? Because they don't want to be seen to be associated with things, right? But if they go down that road, they're only stepping on their own eggshells. They're only building their own cages as brands and as businesses, right? Because the truth of the matter, society is not founded off good, righteous things, right? Society is founded on domination, control, and destroying and winning wars, right? Taking land and then getting warriors to take land, imprisoning people, slaving people, killing people, sending them off here and there, and then building society on top of that, right? So if they start trying to do this now, they're only shooting themselves in the foot, right? Because they're scared to stand next to this brand and that brand and this person. Everybody is scared, basically. So what happens when people operate out of fear? They do silly, stupid, regrettable things, right? And they make it bad for everybody. You know what they say? Hard times make strong men, or is it strong men make good times make weak men make hard times, right? And that's essentially what the cycle will perpetuate, right? So I don't think it's a good idea to demonetize individuals based on something they haven't done on the platform, okay? Just my opinion. But what do you think? Is there a bigger narrative to this? Can it get into dangerous waters of suppressing and silencing people? So they're initially just coming in the middle of the night, putting a black bag over your head and disappearing you from the internet, right? In all reality, that is what it is, okay? And there's an old story we learn in English lit, Can't remember the whole thing, but it was basically saying there's a story about armies, right, in Africa, and they were knocking on people's doors and taking people away one by one. And every neighbor said, hey, as long as they're not taking me away and my family away, I don't care. But eventually they knock on their door too, right? So everybody is kind of in this together. If one person doesn't stand up, then everybody's going to fall down too, right? So just think about it like that. Tell me what you think in your comments. Am I over exaggerating this, over analyzing this, or is there some real substance to this going forward in society and use and internet usages, right? Is this actually a problem? Should we be policing people this heavily? Big artists and individual small people too, right? Is it fair? Is it right? I would like to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments. We can debate, we can go back and forth. If you could bring up some litigation, some actual acts and stuff to let me know and be aware of, love that, right? Because I want to know the actual inner workings of this and why it's allowed and why it shouldn't be allowed, right? What rights are we infringing? What laws are we breaking or not breaking? Let me know, yeah? So thank you for watching. Drivers Make Podcast. Instagram Drivers Make Podcast, TikTok Drivers Make Podcast, Patreon Drivers Make Podcast. If you've got a subject you want me to talk about, a video you want me to make, reach out on Patreon or in the DM or in the comments. Let me know. I will consider it and then we'll see where we can go from there. But other than that, thank you for your time. Please let me know what you think. Peace.